Hello, welcome back to the Northeastern. What we're going to be looking at and following over the next few weeks is the redesigning of this engine shed area. As you can see, this is how it is at the moment existing. And this is what I'm hoping to do in this area. Right, let's move the sheet out of the way and we'll have a look. At the moment, this is what it looks like. Main feed line comes in, divides up into 3 tracks. 2 of them goes into the engine shed that way, and 1 of them backs up on itself this way. So what I'm planning to do, go back to our drawing. Move the engine shed up into this area here where the single track is, putting the 2 tracks in. At the far end there's room and space to add an extra piece of board to put a turntable in, still keeping the 3 tracks, but it's all got to come up. The whole lot's got to be lifted up to give us the room that I need. I need to move the tracks over this way at least another 20 millimeters or so, because the water tower needs to go between, because the water tower has got to stay at that end. And you can see that where the triangular piece is, that's got to come out, and a wider board fitted for the turntable. Hence why I haven't ballasted this area yet. So the first thing to do is to move all these items out of this area so I can start lifting the track up. Okay, I shall do that in a jiffy. In the meantime, another job that's got to be done is this bridge buttress here. Eventually it's got to come across all these tracks to this area here. So before that's done, got to ensure that the point motors are fitted here and here, because once the road gets across, you might not be able to access it that well. So let's make a start, then draw it out on the board, continue that little bit of work, and then come back. See you in a bit. Right, the main reason for the change, mainly, is to allow the turntable to go in this area here, and to still have the 3 roads in this area here. So I've desoldered the fish plates that will come up through these holes here and here, and now I'm going to fill the remaining holes and tidy up, and then start marking out where the tracks are going to go. I'm just using Wick's all-purpose multi-filler. What I've done now is I've put a little bit of PVA in with it, because it can be quite porous, this filler, so a little bit of PVA makes it a bit smoother for going into the fine, smaller holes. Okay, so I'll do that and then I'll get back to you. Right, now that all the holes are filled in, where all the feed wires were and where all the point motors would have been, I'm lucky I didn't get around to fitting them in time. Anyway, well, that's all dry. I just thought I'd mark out the position where this road bridge is going to go. It's quite a long bridge. It's going to be around about 18, 19 inches long, possibly a bit more. So I thought, while that's there, I'll just mark it out roughly where it's going to be on the board, which will then give me an indication whereabouts to put the engine shed, which will go in this area here. So I'll just have to wait now until the filler goes off. But in the meantime, I have got other jobs I can be getting on with on the layout. Okay, while I'm waiting for the polyfiller to go off on the baseboards, I thought I'll make a start on these Pico inspection pits. Instructions look quite straightforward actually. It comes with code 75 streamlined track, but obviously if you're using code 100 or something else, you can just cut up a piece of rail from the standard track and then insert that itself. I'm sure it would still work out the same. Anyway, here's the components. Don't know what that is, but that might come in handy. I'll put that in my come in handy box because it looks like a bit of 8-inch pipe work. So all these little bits, never throw them away. You can always make something with them. So I'll do just deburr the edges. And just take that so that when they push them together they go. So that's it. You can see it. Right, so basically they just slot together like so. That's it. And you feed the rail through the chairs. So looks good to me. So let's put a little bit of glue on them. Having a bit of trouble getting the old cement out of the end of the tip here. So get the finest needle you can find and just push that down a few times, and hopefully now the glue should come out. Let's try again. There you go. Look at that. Easy peasy. Put a little bit on there too. When you first put them together, they bow a little bit. Don't know if you can see that, but it is slightly bowed a little bit. But that'll straighten out once you get the rail on. So let's quickly do another one. I'll show you what I mean. A bit on there. Bit on there. Right, that's the length I'm going to have these inspection pits. Got a bit of muck on it there. Right, so, and just feed the rail through. And then it should just stiffen it up. A bit either end. And that's it. It's straightened it up now, as you can see. Here she goes. There you go. Basically, I just put them in temporary till the glue goes off. It's all got to be painted yet. Because what I want to do is when it's finished is trim these tabs off when the glue's gone off, here, here and here, and then you can fit the old steps inside there. And right, here are the inspection pits finished. just require painting now. And once the polyfiller has gone off, start working out where these are going to go. Preferably either just in front of the engine shed or inside the engine shed, depending on space. But quite realistic. You've got the grills in the bottom for the water to escape when they flush the old boilers out. I made these bridge trusses out of these are a Wills kit. They've been painted, and just got to weather them now because they've got to go on the bridge where the goods yard is. It's been missing some girder plates, so made these up last weekend. Paint's gone off now, so it's just a case of weathering them. Once I've weathered them, I'll stick them on the layout. I'm using this Humbrol dark wash for weathering. That dries, it'll be okay. That's it. As long as there's more dirt along the bottom edge than there is at the top, because it all sees, because when the old steam engines run underneath, all the dust and muck always seems to settle on these bottom. Not only does the cotton bud help take it off, it helps spread it around a bit as well. Yeah. All I'll do now is I'll just give that a very fine skim, just with a little bit there, a little bit there. Just get the cotton bud, just one across the top. That's it. It's ready for gluing in position. There you go. Okay. Okay, the polyfiller has dried and it's been sanded down, and we're ready to start laying the track. I've got this piece in position ready because that's where we had finished off, so I've got this piece in ready to give it a rough idea. It's roughly where I want it to be, about 20 mil off that signal post there. What I'll do is I'll start laying the track in place to see what I'm going to get. Okay, see you in a minute or three. Okay, done a little bit more. Those 2 points are in place. One's pinned down and one's left loose. It looks to me that I could get an extra point in there. As you can see, I've got the parallel line in. And I think I'm going to gain a bit of ground here. Right, let's get a few more bits in and we'll come back to you. Alright, this is looking a bit promising. I've got 1, 2, 3 points before the 4th point come back on myself. Remember the drawing I did earlier? Well, the drawing says that I was only going to gain, here it is here, 3 tracks going away from us from this end. It looks like I have now got the 4, or I will have the 4. 1, 2, and this bit of track comes in 3, and then the head shunt past this point here 4. I'm not sure about that water short tower staying there though. But I'm going to have to think about that one. I'm using the straight edge there to keep the track in a straight line. But yeah, it's coming along. It's working out quite well, and obviously the small medium radius turnout there coming back this way will eventually go into the engine shed, which will be sitting here. Right, what we're looking at here is a wide turnout which I'm going to be using on the layout, and all my track work is Pico Code 75 Streamline. Now I've been having trouble with some of the point work that I fitted earlier because I've been relying on the wires on the fish plates to feed through here for the power supply. But obviously when I've come to ballast and the glue gets between the fish plate points, it doesn't quite feed the point itself. So what I've done is flip it over. Is where the bridging wires used to go across here, I've given them their own cables. So this point then in effect has its own power supply. And obviously this wire here is the switch wire, which eventually will go to my point motor, which I'll put on when it's fitted later on. So just a little brief tip to ensure that your point is always fed by a power supply. These two wires then will go to the buzz bar. But another quick tip is, right, we got to make sure is when you come to put your feeder wires in that you've got them the right way around. So if the point is either that way, as it will be on me, in my case, the black would be on the near side and the red would be on the far side. But if you were to put the point that way around on the layout, you would have to swap the polarity over. So you'd have to put the black on this side and the red on this side, so vice versa. So you've got to think about where you're putting your point as to where or which side your positive and your negative goes on your point. So I just thought I'd give you that quick brief insight into how I've been doing the points recently. I wish I'd done it from the start, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. Right, let's move on a little bit.